How much is your HECS debt?
I think at the moment around 11,000. Oh, 11,000, 21,000, something along those lines. I don't really remember.
I think it's quite big.
I think altogether it'll be about 40,000.
In total, maybe 20 grand, 30 grand.
As of right now, I'm trying not to think about it, but I'm sure it will come to bite me in the backside afterwards.
It's a hidden financial burden. Nearly 3 million Australians carrying tens of thousands of dollars in student debt, known as HECS or HELP. In total, $78 billion is owed to the government.
So mine's currently sitting at about 40,000, and that's after having graduated in 2016. So it's not gone down considerably.
Ben Schuster studied veterinary science, but after working as a vet for a time, he switched to a job in marketing.
In hindsight, if I had known what my career path would be like, I probably would have gone more a direct career path.
His wife Kate is studying arts law and owes...
Currently sitting at 52,000. You get told these stories at school to say you'll get a better life by having a degree, but now it's almost hindering...
Do you?
Well, yeah, it's almost like, what life can you achieve if you have a debt?
Yeah, I think I try not to think about it. It's been there for close to a decade, just kind of lingering there in the background, and I don't foresee myself being able to pay it off anytime soon.
A review into universities has found the HECS system isn't working at its best.
It's full of strange little phenomena that have crept in like little gremlins, and it needs a good clean out, basically.
Mary O'Kane is the chair of a panel that looked at whether Australia's universities could meet its future skills needs. The panel's 47 recommendations to the federal government are broad-ranging and include changes to HECS.
The HECS system is a good system in general terms, but that it actually needs a bit of fixing. It's got a bit rusty and crusty over the years.
Each year, HECS debts are indexed in line with inflation. That means a percentage is applied to the debt. Last year, debts rose by a bit over 7%, the largest increase since 1990.
This year, indexation is expected to be 4.7%, but that's yet to be confirmed by the tax office.
We need to make sure it doesn't suddenly go at a very high rate.
Mary O'Kane's panel has proposed a different calculation, setting the indexation rate to whichever is the lowest percentage between the Consumer Price Index and the Wage Price Index.
If you take the minimum of the two, it should stay at a reasonable level, not necessarily low, but at a reasonable level against wage growth.
The panel also wants a change to when HECS debts are indexed to help people pay down the debt.
People are upset that the indexation is applied before the tax return, meaning that you're not really paying off the debt, you're actually getting slugged before
and we address that too.
And what's the solution?
Well, to change the timing.
The date should be after June 30 when the tax returns
And I'll
are...
leave the fine detail to the tax office.
If you needed more proof that life's harder for younger generations, the review says HECS debt is affecting those looking to buy a home. The banks include HECS debt as part of your overall debt. So if you have high debt, it's less likely you can borrow money.
While Ben and Kate had high amounts of HECS debt, they recently managed to enter the property market, but they couldn't borrow as much as they wanted.
Like, we had the dream of having land, having a house, like...
Queenslander.
Yeah, a Queenslander, like kind of the idealistic
Bluey
Brisbane
house.
home. Yeah, Bluey house. But yeah, that's just unachievable.
The review has recommended changes to the bank's lending practices.
It's not like an ordinary loan, and it shouldn't be counted as such when people are applying for home loans. And that's the issue we want addressed.
The banks will disagree with that though.
I'm not sure that they would. They have to have a social licence to operate.
Like, if they genuinely do want people to become first home owners, they need to look at people in our situation and just cut them some slack.
Give us more grace, or give anyone with a HECS debt more grace as well too.
Would you like to buy a home?
Yeah, that is something in the future I'd be very interested in. But considering like the housing crisis in Sydney at the moment, as well as the fact that I'll have all this debt, I feel like it won't be something I'll be able to do for maybe the next 10 to 15 years.
Would you like the banks to ignore your HECS debt?
Yes, I think that would be better for me. It would be easier to get a home loan.
I think in a perfect world, it would be good for them to ignore our HECS debt.
Ahead of the May budget, the Prime Minister has promised to make the HECS system simpler and fairer, but has yet to outline the specifics. Mary O'Kane has this message for the government.
Looking forward to seeing lots of those 47 recommendations implemented, and as fast as possible.
And you want all of them implemented?
Absolutely. It's only 47.
Considering the cost of living and people trying to do their best, purchase their first property, like if HECS is holding them back, any changes to help them out will definitely be beneficial.